Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I was thinking about when it came to the different ships of EVE Online, based on often how I play EVE Online actually, and I go into certain phases. And that is, sometimes I like the idea of having certain ships that you can do like almost everything in it, almost everything. And I'm wondering, do you guys have any kind of ships that are like that you can it's like your ship that you can do pretty much everything in it? I'm not saying you can do everything in it, but like, if there's one ship you would have, which one would it be? That's what I'm wondering. If you could only have one ship in the game, which one do you have? Let me know in the comments down below. Because I've been thinking a lot about this based on like different things I've been doing in the past. You might have noticed that previously I've been doing a lot of DED hunting in Gilas, for example. Gilas, doing them to do DED sites is pretty cool. Okay, it's something you can do a bit relaxingly. And then you can also use it for Abyss. I'm not too big of a PvP person, but you can also do it if you want to do a bit of PvP in a Gila. So the Gila is one of those kind of ships that I think is like, kind of sort of like an all-in-one ship right here. So I don't have actually the fit right here on this character, but the Gila has the ability to just be so tanky and just do so much damage, and just can apply really well to stuff. And you can then also fit it into the kind of DED size, that little bit more low tier kind of stuff. Usually it's a very well-rounded ship, and you're able to then just use it for so many different activities. And it's noted by how many skins this ship has, how popular it is. I mean, just for the Abyss in itself, it's a really popular ship. But you can do so much in it. You can earn dank ISK in it, but you can also do PvP in it. Back in the day, when I used to do some like low-sec ratting in a basic Punisher fit, I remember that I was going through systems, and eventually when I upgraded from that Punisher and I get to an Omen, I was farming a system called Seabot, an Amarian system, and I actually encountered a guy there called Mr. Axon Erikajet, I think he's called. I remember his name because he was a pretty fierce person. Yeah, there he is. You can see he looks very intimidating right there. He used to often go around with this system of Seabot in Agila actually, and he could have may as well used that for ratting, but he was going around there killing people in it. So this ship is like a really like good hybrid style. It can be used for PvE and PvP type ship. So you can like earn your ISK and also use the ISK to wreck people in it. And that, to be honest, that's something I should do. That's probably something I should do actually. Gila PvP. I've never really done much Gila PvP just because of the price of the ship, but I probably should do that actually. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Another ship that I think that is very good that you can do a lot of stuff in is the one that we're in right now. Though if you were to have just one ship you could use. Because this is a ship right here, the Astero. It's an exploration ship. But it's also a pretty decent PvP ship as well. It can earn a decent amount of ISK. It can earn a lot of ISK actually. It's not like a pure PvP ship. It can be used to do relic sites, data sites. You can earn a lot of ISK for that. I remember watching the This Is Eve trailer, I believe it was. And I remember seeing the Astero in that trailer, how much ISK they had earned. So it's just like, yeah, you can really earn a lot of ISK in these exploration ships. It's like you could be in this ship pretty self-sufficient. You could like, go around, hunt stuff, like the relic and data sites. But if you're feeling a bit naughty, you can always go with like a dual scram fit and a cloak up and hunt people. Like really cool right there. But then another thing that this ship is good at is just general transportation. It's also a really good ship in that regard because it's a very nimble little ship, able to cloak. You can get around different places pretty quickly, and then you can also cloak up, so you can go into dangerous space in relative safety. I actually used to use an Astero for transportation before I was able to use interceptors. I think it was I was able to use interceptors, but it was just convenient because the Astero has got the ability to use Covert cloak. When I used to do trading in nullsec, actually, I used to trade Gila blueprint copies in nullsec a couple of years ago, and this was my go-to ship to actually smuggle them in and out of nullsec because you could use it so well to just transport stuff, but also align fast. You can Covert cloak and scan down wormholes to get in and out of nullsec. It was a pretty smooth experience right there, pretty smooth experience. And also, it's like an important factor for me when it comes to ships to look good if it comes to these all-in-one ships is I prefer if they're a ship that looks good. The Gila is a ship that I think looks really great. It's a ship that is actually one of my favorite ships in the game, especially with this skin right here. I mentioned it a lot, but this etheric radius skin is my number one favorite skin. The Astero is also a pretty cool ship. Me personally, it's not my favorite looking ship, but I know that there's a lot of people who like this because on the EVE Online Reddit, I see people all the time posting artwork of Asteros all the time, and it's got a very like iconic design, very like modern, sleek looking design. So I can definitely see why people like it. For me, it's not my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people like it. So not only is it very functional, but it is also by many being seen as very aesthetically pleasing as well. There is another ship that is actually pretty cool now for multi-purpose uses is the Golem, and the Golem is not really, I would say, a ship that, oh, if I were to only have this ship, then I would use this, because it would be very unfortunate to have to, you know, like if we think of this hypothetically, if I were to have only one ship, having a Golem would be really lame. I mean, it would sound cool on paper, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna have the biggest and baddest ship you can have in HiSec. But you have to also think about it from a practical point of view. Like, you're going to be going around in a battleship to different places. A battleship. You know how slow these things warp? They're so slow. Align really slowly as well. You're going to be going around at a snail's pace. So if you want to get to some place, you're just going to be stuck there for the rest of your life. So I guess if you are to some extent like me, who just sits in Jeet all day, it could be good because you're not moving around so much. But if you are somewhat moving around, before I used to do a lot of alpha missions. I don't do as many alpha missions nowadays, but I used to do a lot of alpha missions in the system of Heora. Because, you know, align time 10 seconds. There's a system called Heora. It's quite far away. Let's see if we go in solar systems here. If I were to have a Golem going back and forth, that would not be nice. That's why it's so good to have a nimble ship. For example, I don't know, Sunasis, Interceptor, you can go back and forward, have the ships docked up there. So maybe a Golem wouldn't be the only ship I would want to have, but the reason I brought up the Golem is because it can do so many different PvE activities. Because it can do alpha missions really well, it can do any event really well, just slaps it so hard. You know, Sanchez stuff, the Blood Raider stuff, Angel, not the, what's it called now, Angel Valentine's Day update, Grista's Hunt. Actually, Grista's Hunt is not anymore battleship level class events, but the point is, all these events, it just slaps it. And then Triglavian hunting as well. It's one of the few ships that are actually able to do Triglavian hunting really damn well. And then if you're in nullsec, you can also use it to farm anomalies. You can do DD sites in it. It can actually cover a big range of activities in terms of the PvE side of gameplay. PvP, it's also, I mean, I've seen lots of YouTube videos of people using golems in crazy tank fits, tanking like dreadnoughts. But I don't know if people would really, it's maybe not the smartest idea to go around in the Golem PvPing all the time unless you're super rich. So for that reason, probably I would see it less of a PvP ship. I mean, it's definitely capable of being PvP as much as the other ships. Just that I'm thinking from a point of view of being a smart choice as a PvP ship. Maybe it's not the wise idea to spend a few billion, multi-billion ISK on doing PvP. But it also depends, you know, how rich you are and that kind of stuff. There's another ship that I think that is actually pretty cool at doing a lot of stuff if I would just have one ship. And it would be almost like a sin for me to not mention this. The Sunasis. The Sunasis is my #1 hauling ship. If I want to get away around fast and haul stuff, this is the best ship in my opinion, because it's cheap. Like for the price I'm talking. I mean, you can obviously use jump freighters, you can use deep space transports, you can use blockade runners, all that kind of stuff. That is maybe a bit better than the Sunasis, but the Sunasis have that speed. The Sunasis has that speed and has the price that none of the other ships have. Instant align, good cargo hold, really great. And then on top of that, you can also do some basic abyss sites. So there's nothing crazy, maybe T1 max, maybe T2 if you bling. But then also many of these live events, the destroy events, can be done very easily. You can also do very well in the low level DD hunting. Like I think you could even do a 4 out of 10. I never personally done 4 out of 10s in the Sunasis, but I know you could if you had to put a right fit on it based on the stats it has. Just the reason why I brought this up is because I felt like it's such a good all-round ship. You've got the area of transportation really settled with this ship, and then you could cover a wide range of PvE activities. But then you also got actually PvP. There are people who PvP quite a lot in Sunasis. Actually, I've noticed a lot of people on gates actually who've been gate camping with Sunasis. I'm not sure why, because I'm not too acquainted with the PvP side of EVE Online. But I think it might have something to do with its sense of strength being quite high. But I don't think this is actually a very high sense of strength. I don't know. Well, I've seen quite a few Sunasis camping on gates at least, and I have seen them flying around hunting people. And I can imagine it also has also a bit to do with its transportation capabilities as well, how it's so nimble, able to go all over the place, and how it's able to then get to targets pretty quickly. Another ship that I think there is a really cool ship I would want to have if I were to only have one ship, Retribution, is definitely one of them. It's a cool looking ship in my opinion, cheap, and can do really good Abyss sites. Really good at Abyss, but it's also good at doing DET sites, and it's very fast, so you're going to be able to transport yourself around, and you can do some decent PvP in this. I mean, your Retribution is a very capable PvP ship. It's a pretty good sniper style kiting ship right here. I'm not too acquainted with it in PvP, but I've seen a lot of people in Faction and Warfare at least use this ship. So this is definitely one ship I would consider to be a very good multi-purpose ship, and definitely one of those I would want to use if I were to only use one ship in the game. DED sites can also be done really well. My friend iPad Tajori made a special Retribution fit that was able to actually be used to do the Blood Raider and Sanction DED sites even until the full out of 10s, I think. So those are some ships that I think that would be my ideal ships if I were to only have one ship in the game. The Gila, definitely Gila. Astero, Golem, Sunesis, and the Retribution. What kind of ships do you think would be your only ship if you had to only choose one? Let me know in the comments down below. Look forward to see what kind of ships you guys like a lot. Maybe we can find some interesting fits based on those popular ships for different activities. We'll see. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's enough for now. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.